Hello and welcome to a new video. There are a ton of options out there when starting your first live stream, and in this video I'm going to talk about my experiences and give you some pointers on what to use to get you up and running without all the headaches. First of all, ask yourself, why do I want to live stream? Do you want to engage differently with your audience? Or do you have something that you want to share which would be best done live? Do you want to start a Q&A segment in your content and get interaction live? Or do you just want to get your messages out there, whatever they may be, in real time? Now in my case, I like the idea of broadcasting a no-frills show and just really connecting with people in real time. Maybe answering some topical questions along the way. Now, my first live stream, if you may remember, was me actually editing a documentary short I had to complete that same weekend using Final Cut. Now, which you may have seen already, but I thought it would have been fun, or was fun, to live stream as I was working on this edit, sharing my tips and how to do things that may help you guys along the way. And it didn't really matter to me whether anybody joined or not. It was just a really great experience to actually giving tips and tricks along the way. And remember, the good thing about your streams, particularly on YouTube, is that they can be saved and added to your overall channel content for future replays or added to a particular playlist. So how do you start? Well, that's a really good question, and it actually depends on how involved you want to get with regards to customization and what platforms you want to stream on. In this video specifically, I'm going to focus on YouTube as the streaming platform. But remember, this workflow can apply to any service like Twitch, Facebook, or even LinkedIn Live, which I think is in beta right now. But anyway, let's just look at the basics first. So you obviously need a camera, a microphone, and some hardware to stream from. Now you can start by just using your phone. It really doesn't matter. Remember, many Instagram TV streams and other things use phones to stream from, and they can be just as engaging as a full-blown studio setup, right? And if that works for you, just stop this video right now, pick up that phone and start streaming. But if you want to give your stream that extra polish, then please keep watching, because it depends on what is available to you, what you're comfortable with from a gear and software perspective. Because as I mentioned, there's a few choices that you can have. So you're a creative wonder with lots to say to the world and are ready to go live with your message. Now that content needs to be pushed and streamed to a platform or platforms of your choice. I've just highlighted YouTube, Facebook and Twitch, but obviously there are many others to choose from. Now from your phone, each of these platforms allows you to go live natively from their applications, so you can be streaming at the click of a button. What I want to show you though is if you want to stream from your desktop, allowing you to have some additional control over the production of your streams. Because with phones they can be quite limiting and not giving you what you need. So there are a couple of ways of doing this right now. You can install software on your desktop or laptop and you run your stream from within that application. The second option is to use a browser or cloud-based streaming service with no additional software download needed. So let's take a look first at some of these browser-based options. And some of the most popular ones out there right now, available for free with some caveats, are StreamYard, Restream.io, and a newcomer to the market, Melon app, which is in beta. These browser-based or cloud-based options offer a lot of advantages. As we've mentioned, first off, there's no software installation required. You just create an account from their website, use your existing web browser of choice, and away you go. All of them have very low overhead with regards to resources on your desktop or laptop, meaning you can use a less powerful device to get your streams up and running and still get really good results. A lot of these allow you to stream to multiple platforms at once from a single stream source, and this is sometimes referred to as simulcasting. Most of these services offer in-browser chat, which means you can share on screen the messages and chats that you're getting from your audience, which is really engaging. They also give you the tools to invite your guests to interact with your live streams without any plugins or any software installs. Just as a click of the button, they integrate really well with those types of platforms. Now, all of these streaming services, if you look online, offer free pricing plans to get you started, but all of which have some notable limitations, and depending on the platform can vary with regards to this. The main limitations are that they don't allow the customization of any of these overlays, backgrounds, graphics related to your branding. If you want to brand up your stream, then you need a paid plan. Now, they also have a number of limitations to the number of streaming services you can connect to and how many streams you can publish in 1 month. Some are limited to only 5 streams per month. And not forgetting the overall quality of your stream. Most of these free plans max out at 720p and at 30 frames a second. Now, like me and for many of us that are just starting, these limitations are probably not an issue, but they are worth noting, especially if you want to stream at full HD with higher frame rates. All of these services have a free trial, right? So you can basically get up and running, test out their basic plan. You have nothing to lose really, because you can test these services, get these great options and start to compare them and get yourself live streaming really quickly. As I mentioned, if you want to use these browser-based services and customize your streams with your branding, use higher frame rates and have all these unlimited restrictions, then you're going to need to upgrade to one of the paid plans. So let's take a look at each one of these paid plans in turn. First off, with Restream, they have 2 paid plans. A standard one, which is around $19 a month, all the way up to a pro level one, which will cost you a whopping $49 a month. You can see the main differences here, with their professional plan given you complete control and unlimited streaming facilities. StreamYard, on the other hand, starts at $20 a month, but that only still gives you 720p. If you want to do full HD, you'll need to go to the main plan, which is $39 a month. Melon, on the other hand, looks to have the simplest option, offering one paid-for plan at $15 a month, which is currently introductory. They have some limited features when compared to Restream and StreamYard, remember, so it's well worth having a look at the differences. As live streaming is becoming more popular and new services are popping up all the time, I don't think it'll be long before some of these bigger names will start to reduce their overall costs. After all, competition is really good for us, right? Let's take a quick look at StreamYard. You can see here you've got the watermark because this is still the free plan. You have some banners that you can show and overlay here, and you can actually customize obviously what you say here. You can create a new one. Testing, for example. And then, oh, that didn't work very well, did it? Try again. Then you can show that banner. I'm just testing. But yeah, it's all right. The thing is with StreamYard, you can add a few things, but with the overlay, for example, you can't change that. So you can click that on and off, but you can't change it. Same with, with the watermark, you can't remove either. You can have some private chat with your guests, and any comments that come in from YouTube or the streaming service will appear up here, and then you can show those comments pop in. It's pretty straightforward, really easy to use, intuitive. If you've got guests or other desktops and things to share, you can create these little overlays down at the bottom. If you're sharing anything else, you can share part of your desktop, or now in StreamYard, you've got the ability to share a video file. So if you wanted to give it a little quick demo like I'm doing now, you can pull in a video on here. And you can invite guests, so it's really cool. You can just copy this to your clipboard. You can email or even send to Messenger the link for guests to join you here on StreamYard. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's StreamYard. Let's take a quick look at Restream. So Restream is very similar. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff isn't working for me right now. in this particular test, but it's the same process. You've got overlays and graphics that you can add even with the basic version, but that's their own branding, so you're not going to be able to customize it, as I mentioned. But similar setup where you can have chats that appear here, the same with the overlay, and then you can set up graphics to a little extent with their own branding, but not your own, unfortunately. So again, you can change backgrounds and do different things. From a setup perspective, you can add multiple channels. So within the Restream, as you can see here, Restream have got a ton of channels that you can publish your stream to. I think it's around 30 in all. Periscope, don't worry about that, that's disappearing soon. But Facebook Live and Twitch and things like that are a great way of getting your stream out there to multiple services if you are on here. StreamYard has a similar set of services that it can stream to, but it's not as comprehensive as Restream. So again, horses for courses depending on what you want to stream to. The most basic one at the moment is this one here, which is Melon app. So Melon is in beta, as I mentioned. They don't have the same level of customization. You've got some, little overlays you can do here. You can have your name and with the watermarks. But in terms of the logos and things, you can see here, most of these are paid plan options again. You can remove the ticker and stuff like that, but you still have these little overlays, and with a click of a button, you can bring those little overlays in. But as you can see, $15 a month right now is the paid for option. And how much is it annually? Sorry. Yeah, okay. So they have, they're trying to get people on board. There's so many streaming services that are browser-based like this right now, and why not? If I was them, I'd try and do whatever I could to get business. They're very low overhead, as I mentioned, with regards to processing power and memory and things like that. Although a couple of quirks that I have found is that Melon does work in Safari and Chrome. StreamYard doesn't support Safari, so you got to have Chrome, Firefox, or another browser. If you're using the Mac like I am, then Safari is not supported for that. And I think Restream works in both, but I'm using Chrome. But Chrome is a memory hog anyway, so if you can use Firefox or Safari, that'll give your processor a fighting chance as well. Because as you can probably hear in the background, my computer's whirring away right now just by using Chrome. Anyway, there's the demo for those. Let's get back. Now, if you don't want to pay for those additional professional options, but you want more customization and full control over your stream, there are alternatives to these browser-based systems, which are software-based installs. Two of the most popular are OBS Studio and Streamlabs OBS. OBS Studio is an open source platform that has support for Windows, Linux, and Mac, is completely free, and has many plugins and workflows together with support from a huge developer community. As it's open source, OBS is very popular due to the sheer number of plugins and support options available all throughout the interwebs. You're not going to find a more developed platform than OBS. Streamlabs OBS, on the other hand, is the commercial version of OBS, it gets confusing I know, owned by Logitech, and offers a more intuitive user interface with paid-for options and widgets, some of which you need to get from their Prime subscription service. Streamlabs OBS does offer a free version of the software, which is also highly customizable. OBS Studio, however, can only stream to one service at a time, unlike Streamlabs OBS, which has paid-for options to enable these multi-streaming capabilities. Both options perform all the rendering of your audio and video streams on your system, which means unlike these browser-based options, these can add significant load to your computer, especially if you start to stream at high frame rates and resolutions. Now, these software-based solutions also offer a lot more control over what content you want to share, be it video, audio files, multi-cameras, multi-audio streams, I mean, it's quite comprehensive what you can do with this software. So this is OBS. And OBS, as you know, is software that you download and how to install on your machine. But two things about OBS. One, it's completely free, which is great. Two, as I mentioned, it has tons of plugins, workflows, tutorials. Because it's open source, a ton of people use this and have written great plugins and workflows for it. So there's a great developer community associated with OBS. You can only stream though to one stream at a time with OBS out of the box. So the free version, the one that you download, and the one that's open source, you can only stream to one stream at a time. So in my particular case, it doesn't really matter. I use this and I'll stream to Facebook. For others who may want to multi-platform stream or simulcast at the same time, then you may want to look at the Streamlabs OBS version, which we'll look at in a second. Interesting thing though about OBS is that it is very customizable. So you can add music, overlays, different scenes, presentation views, all kinds of things. Now I created this little overlay myself, which looks a bit, like a retro page on a browser or a old desktop from the 1990s, for example. But those are the things that are great about OBS. None of the stuff is paid for, so you can basically customize away, have full control of your stream, how it looks, how it sounds, what mixing you want. There's multiple mixers in here. As you can see, there's multiple filters to make your voice sound better, filters for your video. So it's very customizable. This isn't a tutorial on OBS. I may do one in the future, but right now it's just to show you that OBS is very, very highly customizable, but does have some limitations. So let's take a quick look at the Streamlabs Logitech version of this platform. So this is Streamlabs OBS, which is the paid for version of OBS, or the skinned version made by Logitech, as I mentioned before. As you can see, the overall layout is pretty similar to OBS. Well, it's the same program, but they've just added and updated the UI to make it a little bit more user-friendly. But the same principles apply with regards to the scene selection, your presentations, how you want that, the mixing desk here for your audio, how you select the various different sources, the transitions and overlays. What is different though is that they've got a lot of paid for versions. So if you go to configuration here, you'll see this little Prime icon. And as I mentioned, Prime is the sort of paid for version where you get different widgets, overlays, and the ability to output your stream to multiple destinations. As you can see here, I've only got one selected, which is my YouTube channel. If you wanted to use this then for multiple ones, you can select either one of these, by the way. You can just have YouTube, or just have Facebook, or just have Twitch. But what you can't do is multi-stream simultaneously without paying for the additional services. So again, it's a mixed bag depending what you want to use and how you want to use this software. But I mean, the software itself works pretty well. It gives you statistics around drops and things, which is what you don't get with the other browsers. So with the other browser-based systems, you don't get the statistics to understand, how your stream is performing and things like that. So what's important is, depending on the stats and so on, for example, here, what's the CPU capacity, or what's the CPU being used at the moment by this program, what you're actually streaming in. And if I was actually streaming live, it would show me the rate or the bit rate of what I'm connecting at to the stream and how many dropped frames and things like that, just to look at the performance of the actual system. Now, I don't have a very good internet connection where I am, so I have to limit and rate what I want with regards to this. One thing I forgot to mention with OBS is that you can actually change the output stream basically based on the frame rate and things like that. So you can stream whatever your
camera is capable of. You can stream at 1080, 4K if you really want to, but you do need to have a very good internet connection for a 4K stream. So the difference between the browser-based versions, which you have to pay for an additional license to get full HD, with the likes of OBS, if you used to download that version, you can go ahead and stream straight away at 1080 or even whatever your camera allowing you, because you're only limited by the processing power of the machine that you're running OBS on and your internet connection. So quite a few differences between all these different versions of software. What I actually tend to use, I'll talk to you about in a moment.
So one mix-up to this is that you can actually combine OBS and the browser-based software, because that's going to give you the best of both worlds. It's going to allow you to create all your overlays, add additional branding, and so on. And also the functionality to multi-stream with low overhead specifically for your system. Let's take a look at how this hybrid system works.
So if you like OBS, and the fact that you have much more control over your video elements, your transitions, your presentations, filters and stuff like that, but like the convenience of having the Restream or StreamYard browser-based services where you can stream to multiple platforms at the same time, have more control over your chat and things like that, you can actually use a hybrid model where you actually use both software. I know, crazy, right? So let's take a quick look. So OBS here on the left is set up as normal. I have my presentations. I can do what I want, blah, blah, blah. It looks really good. And you don't have to now start streaming with OBS. You have this option to enable this virtual camera. And all that means is now it's converted the OBS signal from your camera into a virtual camera that you can pull into other software. Now you can use OBS's virtual camera with Zoom, with WebEx, with other live chat services. And here I'm actually going to use it with Restream in this particular case. So here is the Restream studio. At the moment, there's nothing going on. I'm not live, obviously, but let's go to the configuration button here. You can do the same in StreamYard. You can do the same in Melon. You can do the same in anything. All you're doing here is selecting your default output. Now I've got the FaceTime camera. Won't show you that. It's horrible. And the Lumix software, which is the typical Lumix software that I use, but the one you're looking for is this OBS virtual camera. I click on that. And then that will allow me to use the OBS platform as my virtual camera. The only downside to this is that it doesn't carry the audio from OBS into any of these browser-based tools. That means you'll have to treat your audio chain, your audio mixing differently. You can't use OBS's audio mixer for streaming to these things like StreamYard and Restream. Sorry. So instead, in my case, I'm just going to use my standard microphone that I'm using right here. There are other plugins that you could use. That's for another video, but right now that will do. I'm using the the non-paid for settings here. So I'm only allowed to stream up to 720p at 30 frames a second anyway. Same for StreamYard and others. So it doesn't really matter what the resolution is here of OBS. I'm only ever going to output at 720, but that might be enough, as I said before, for many people. So let's click on that. Let's click on the video, and there you go. So whatever you see now in OBS on the left is being pushed to the live studio in Restream or in StreamYard, for example. Obviously, if I do my presentations and overlays, everything works tickety-boo. So technically you can use this hybrid model to get around some of the limitations with the free plans in the browser-based software if you're happy to configure both. So let me know what you think and how you use it. I've tried to use a bit of both. I still prefer OBS actually, just because I'm doing simple streaming now and again, but I'm going to try using this hybrid method just so I can get chats and things and whatever else going. Again, it's just up to you what you want to use and what you're comfortable with. Anyway, just thought I'd show you the fact that you can use a hybrid model between the two to give you some funky stuff and get around some of the limitations with the free plans for the browser-based software.
So there you have it. My choice for now is actually OBS, as I really like to mess around with the customization and stuff. But when I'm going to stream next, I'm going to try out one of the browser-based options. I like Melon, but it looks a little bit limited, so I think I'm going to try StreamYard to see what it looks like. Only the basic, non-pay-for plan, of course. Let me know your comments and thoughts and preferences if you're just getting into streaming, and give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful, as it always helps my channel. With that, I'll see you again soon. Take it easy, and we'll see you in the next video.